everybody, hello and welcome. As always, I am Sean. This is In The Mix, episode 93 of our Isle of Man series. We're getting our way into our third season in the championship. We have jumped forward a little bit since yesterday's episode, so we've got a tremendous amount to recap. We're not going to waste too much time. We're going to jump straight in and have a look. So first and foremost, as you guys can see, currently sitting in 10th position, 10 games played, 4 wins, 4 draws, 2 defeats. We'll go through those results in a little bit. We've got a couple other things I want to get to first. First being, we've had some additional transfers go out. You guys kind of already knew about them if you went and watched yesterday's episode, but Mohamed Hosseini, Wolves ended up paying his release clause to pick him up. 19-year-old midfielder still was fantastic for us over 2 seasons, or sorry, 1 full season, I should say, last year in the championship. He becomes our record transfer out, and I'm at that point now where I've really got to be conscious about putting release clauses in contracts for players that we want to try and pick up. The way that I'm now trying to get around that is I'm removing those clauses entirely if they ask for them, but adding like a sell-on fee percentage of like 20%, so that if they do get sold, they get that cash, but there isn't a minimum sales requirement that I have to accept. I'll be honest, the board probably would have accepted 12 million had they bid it anyway, like regardless. That's what happened for a couple of the other players like Benitez and De Vargas when they got a couple of $1 million, well, £1 million I should say. The board immediately accepted it, and that's fine. Like, I understand they've got a responsibility to accept these bids, but like, there are players that we're bringing in that I want to keep for 2 or 3 seasons. I don't want to have them for a year and have them leave. But Hosseini deserves the opportunity to play in the Premier League. They've immediately loaned him out to Charlton in the Championship, so we will play against him later in the year. The other ones left is Shojay Mohamedillapur. I spent so much time practicing how to pronounce his name correctly, and it was all for naught. He was a pain in the ass from the minute that he arrived and got upset about something. Only made 16 appearances for us last season from January onwards. When we came back for pre-season this year, he was still upset, still lost faith in the manager, and Greisinger wasn't 100 miles away from him, so I thought, let's cash in now, try and get rid of him. We have sold him for $325k, which is a little profit on what we paid for him only 6 months earlier, but I think it was a good time to kind of move him on, get rid of some of the players that were causing disharmony in the squad, and thankfully, I've already replaced him with a different defender that is already causing issues in terms of their happiness for the team. We'll get to him further in a moment. As we look at the rest of the competition, Stoke are the side that are absolutely smashing it at the moment. 10 games played, they've won 8 and drawn 2. One of those games was against us a couple of weeks ago, but they are already 10 points clear of us, which is absolutely crazy given that we are so early in the season still. We're not miles away from the playoff positions. We're not super far away from West Brom, who are the other side doing very well over the start of the season, but we desperately need to pick up a few additional points. I'll show you guys what I mean. So the wins that we've had is we started the season with that great 4-2 win against Portsmouth from yesterday's episode. We then beat Charlton 3-1 in a very good performance. We further down also beat Wigan 2-1, and then last time out beat Luton 2-1 as well. The defeats are both a little bit painful. We lost to Bristol City 1-0. They scored an early goal. We missed 2 separate penalties. Ramirez missed one, Sigurdsson missed one, or Sigurdsson, I should say, missed one. We had 100 chances in this game. Alton Miranda didn't exactly find his shooting boots, and Camara struggled off the bench as well. We should have won this game, but we just didn't make the most of our opportunities. The next one against Cardiff, which was quite frustrating, we went 2 goals down in the opening 10 minutes. So there was a lot that potentially went wrong. I'm not going to make excuses, but I will go through some of the injuries that we've had over the last few weeks, and I think they have played an impact. But as you can see here, we're running with a relatively threadbare squad for that particular match. We had the 1-1 draw with Stoke, who are top of the division. We drew 0-0 with Millwall, who were bottom of the league. That was quite frustrating, and to be honest, Millwall made us look like a League One side, which is ironic given they'll probably play League One next season. Birmingham we drew 2-2 with. We did have to come from behind in this one via the penalty spot. Sigurdsson getting the equalising goal there. And then we also had a 0-0 draw with Reading, who at the time were quite a strong lineup. Again, missed a penalty in this one, so quite frustrating. There was another missed penalty as well. We missed another one against Stoke. So the Stoke game, we could have gone 2-0 up, missed the penalty, and then they eventually scored in the 90th minute, which was quite frustrating. That would have been a massive win for us at the time. But I did briefly mention it. We have had quite a few injuries as well. If we look at our season summary, now let's go with injury history. It's easy to read. We lost Madrigal for about 4 weeks. We lost Illich for about 4 weeks. We lost Escobar for 4 weeks. We lost Franz Wolf for 4 weeks. And when you look at the schedule, 4 weeks is about 8 games because we've had Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday. And that continues into September as well and all the way through October. The scheduling for the championship this season, 2030, is just ridiculous. There's so much football played before December. And then after that, very little actually played in the new year. So we need to kind of make sure that we aren't doing what we usually do, which is turn the corner on the 1st of January and then smash the second half of the season. We need to make sure that we are having a good run early on in the year to stay at the same level of the teams at the top of the league, at the same level of the teams in the playoffs, if that's where we're going to end up this season. Because of that, we're going to give some additional opportunities to players that haven't played a tremendous amount so far this year. I'm going to give Camara some games, or both games in today's episode, just to see if he relishes that opportunity. He's our leading scorer for the season, 5 goals. Tactically, we have tweaked it a little bit to play with an advanced forward again. I think Alton Miranda is now going to drop off and we'll give Camara a run. Just because he's mainly played in like cup competitions or off the bench and he's scored more often is the basic answer. You can see Alton Miranda over the last 5 games, 6.6. We need to pay attention to that, try and resolve it early. We are still dealing with the Wolf being out. He's been out for about 5 weeks, which has been a real struggle. We don't have a backup 6 at the moment. Madrigal, still out for 3 to 5 weeks, so without him, our midfield looks a little bit different than what we'd like it to be. We're just kind of scraping together a full lineup of players. Ilic is thankfully back. Escobar is thankfully back. I'm hoping they will be a bit of a boost to the side. You may remember from yesterday's episode, there is a transfer that we had tried to set up, Lars Torp, but he didn't agree terms, and he's also 17, which I should have paid more attention to. We need an 18-year-old player to join in that transfer window. He joins us at the end of the season from Mould, so we'll have that Norwegian midfielder, that 4th additional player. It may mean that we look to add additional players in January. We've already got Marcos de Almeida joining but he's a left winger. We probably need another central midfield option and a couple of new faces, but I'll show you these guys once they actually arrive to the club. Otherwise, not super unhappy. Everyone seems to be doing okay. That's playing and staying fit. And well, as we know, anything can happen when you reload a save. I'm hoping it'll be kind of like the reverse now. And when we reload the save this time, we'll be in great form for whatever reason. First, we'll beat Birmingham in the Carabao Cup 3rd round because we need the extra cash from that. And then we will beat Middlesbrough in the Championship to start off a crazy run of games going into October for tomorrow's episode. Magic of editing though, let's jump forward and look at the 2 lineups for the Birmingham game now. So we're of course going with Kubis in goal, Sigurdsson. So for our lineup, we're of course going with Kubis in goal. Sigurdsson will play as the left-sided centre-back. I'm going to give him an opportunity ahead of Greisinger. He's close to a yellow card suspension. He's played most of the games while Escobar has been out, and he's done relatively well. So I'm going to reward that. Greisinger drops from the squad entirely. Escobar will play alongside him and take the captain's armband. Goodlife has done quite well to actually be a natural at the wing-back defender role on that left-hand side, and he's not terrible with the ball. He is getting better, so we need to try and continue with him on that side instead of Hernandez. Benchop will play on the right-hand side. Hendy's going to play as the deep line playmaker. He's not comfortable in this role at all, but we just need someone to fill it at the moment. That's where we're at with the other 2 injured. Aguirre will play a little bit deeper as an advanced playmaker, and Andrews will come in at the 10. Ilic will play on the left wing. He was fantastic before he got injured. He's only just come back into the side. Hopefully he can continue at that decent form. Petrovic has stayed fit all the way through, which has been easy for us, and Camara will get the opportunity up top leading the line. So really, I think I said I was going to give opportunities. It's like Camara, Andrews, Hendy, Sigurdsson. These are guys that I wouldn't usually expect to be in our lineup when everyone's fit and available, but if they play well, I'm absolutely going to keep them in. Looking at Birmingham's lineup, they've still got a couple of holdouts here. Moise Ramirez, Ecuadorian goalkeeper, 30 years of age now. He's still going after being at a few different clubs. We've played him a couple of times now. They've also picked up Kurt Zuma, who is now 35 years of age and still relatively decent technically. Physicals are starting to give way for him a little bit. Stamina and strength aren't great, neither is his acceleration, but interesting career trajectory that he's had. He was at Chelsea, then Norwich, then Valencia, then West Ham, St Etienne, and now back at Birmingham in the Championship. I'm sure still a capable defender. Their captain is Eduardo Cabrera, 25-year-old Argentine, number 10. Looks solid, not spectacular, nothing particularly interesting about him. He's been at Birmingham for a couple of seasons, 52 appearances and 5 goals in that time. And their leading scorer, the danger man we're going to have to keep an eye on, Jamie Fleming, 18 years of age. He is an England, I think, under 21 international. Under 19 international. He's a decent player. We've actually scouted him before. I'm not sure why it's not coming up here, but we've looked at him previously when we go and kind of scout through the England youth sides that have, players from lower division teams. He's very difficult to get. They want like £18 million for him. I just don't have the money. But he may be one that we keep an eye on in future days, weeks, months, whatever else. Jump in the dressing room now. We're going to assertively tell everyone we're huge underdogs. There's no pressure. That hasn't quite worked. Let's tell everyone we've got faith in them. This is the Carabao Cup. I'm not going to be devastated if we get knocked out of it, but at the moment, I do need some additional cash and some additional funds. We have had the board also agree to upgrade our training facilities, our youth facilities, and our data analyst facilities, which I think will take us up to basic for all 3. We've been trying to get those pushed through over the last couple of seasons. Really, we need that Premier League money to get that consistent investment in the facility side of things. But so far, it's good to see them committing a little bit earlier than anticipated. Ilic has played a good ball forward. Zooming with the header there back into Mitchell. It's been all Birmingham from this opening highlight. O'Neill, ball out left to Limber. Just stand him up, boys. He cuts inside one challenge, and then it's a good challenge from Escobar. Square ball to Fleming, back to Rawdon, and thankfully the drive. If he had gone for the other corner, we might have been in some trouble there, but just past the near post. Ramirez resets with a goal kick here. It's Limber's flicked it on, and Ben Shop will recover. Aguirre out to Petrovic now. He's got the overlapping fullback if he can find him. Said he's gone himself, ain't gotten in the box, ain't got the strike away. Ramirez with a good save and holds. Wide ball here, Fleming to take, finds Zuma front post, and Lane has managed to poke that one home. I think it was like a little double header set piece routine there. Maybe we'll check it out here in 3 dimensions. Fleming goes to Zuma near post and no one's near enough tied to him. And he flicks it on and Lane from about a yard out. I think Zuma's header was probably going in anyway, but Lane, proper goal poacher, stealing it off his teammate. And we're a goal down inside 15 minutes, which isn't great. Wide ball here, finds Rooney. Now Limbert, reverse pass to Cabrera. Good life with the header away. It's pinballing around, but then Sigurdsson does well to knock it forward. Kamara does very well to skip past one challenge. He's got a lot to do here though, and he's lost out the ball in the box, and I think we've got a penalty now. We haven't had a great run with penalties so far this season. Kamara will get the opportunity to take. I think he's at about 8 penalty taking, or 9 maybe. He's on a specialist training regime for it, and we've missed another one. So I think that's 5 penalties we've missed in the opening maybe 11 games now. 10 games of the league season, and now in this cup competition as well. Very frustrating. Fleming with the ball in. It's flicked on again by Zuma, who's causing us all sorts of problems out the back there. I think he keeps getting marked by Ben Shop, who isn't the tallest guy in the team. Fleming, wide ball in. Cabrera finds Rawdon at the top of the box, and Lane again from the top of the 6-yard box, a flick on header. They're causing us some issues here. We might, depending on how this highlight goes, we might go attacking just to try and mix up some of the pressure that we're putting on him. No one challenges Zuma again. It's been all over everything. Neil with the strike, and they've gone 2-0 up. This is not a great performance from us in any stretch. So we're going to go attacking, and we're going to use our demand more shout immediately. To be fair to Neil, it's he's done his bit quite well. Skips past the challenge of the fullback and then smashes it into the far corner. It's a very good finish. That touch there, the one that takes him around, very, very good. And Kubis did get something on it, but can only push it into the side netting. And we're 2-0 down, and we deserve to be 2-0 down if we're being entirely honest. Ball forward from Mitchell here, sent into the corner. Good Life should get there first. Long ball is not great, but giving the ball straight back to Birmingham here. Reverse pass to Cabrera, now Limbert, now Rooney, Lane, back to Rooney again, playing nice little triangles here, just keeping the possession between 2 of them. The press isn't terrible, and Aguire's won the ball back in midfield. It's got Illich out now to the left if he can find him. Now just needs to play that square ball. Instead he goes to strike himself. Wide players shooting from wide areas is the bane of my existence. It is far and away the worst thing about Football Manager this season. Thrown here, deep on the left-hand side for Birmingham. Ball across. Kubis does well to come out and claim. We're getting forward here on the left-hand side if we can get the ball out quick enough. We've gone out right to Petrovic. And Illich is now joining in. Petrovic's gone on a great run. The strike was poor, but the run itself was quite good. Incisive, getting in behind players, making it difficult for the defensive line. So we have improved a little bit just in terms of highlights since we went to attacking, but in reality, we're 2-0 down. Aggressively, I expect to see a much better performance from you from the second half. Kamara really struggling, but the penalty miss is probably 90% of that. Throw in, left-hand side for us here. First highlight of the second half. Illich back to Goodliff. Back to Sigurdsson. Long ball forward towards Kamara. Zuma's been excellent. Knocks it forward again. Handy with a little reverse effort towards Kamara again, but it's cut out. Good Life with the switch out towards Petrovic. We've lost out again. Birmingham are just all over us defensively at the moment. They just seem to be dealing with everything we're trying. Sigurdsson, not a bad switch out towards Petrovic. He gets past one challenge and a second one, and then goes for the drive. If you had squared that up across the 6-yard box, it would have been the simplest tap in for Kamara, but I cannot complain. He's the only one that's really consistently beating his man at the moment. And if you look at these match ratings, look at Birmingham, so many players over 7s, and we're really, really struggling to get anyone anywhere near a 6.9. So let's just go by match rating here. Kamara has really struggled. So we'll bring on Alta Miranda. Adam Andrews has really struggled. We might bring on Javier Aguirre, or we might just switch him because I don't have a central midfielder that I can change at the moment. Illich hasn't had a great game. We might bring on Ramirez because he did a serviceable job filling in for Illich while he was hurt for that month. But Illich has the ball here, cuts it back towards Petrovic, and he gets the header on, but there's a tame effort. Ramirez comes out and claims. We're also going to use our Get Creative shout. So we've gambled a little bit, making the 2 subs early on. We will hold on to one more for the last 10 minutes or so, just in case someone picks up a yellow card. There were a couple of players there already with one. Cabrera on the right-hand side here. Ben Shop can't win it back. Limbert to Lane. out to Mitchell, the overlapping fullback. If we win it back, if we win it back, we're in a good position there. We had a couple of players go offside, but drive from distance from the midfielder, well and truly over for Birmingham. All right, we're into the last 10 minutes now. We're going to use our demand more shout. We might also use that last sub. Couple of players struggling. I'm going to bring on Sean Dixon for Ben Shop. He hasn't had a great game. Let's go. I have faith in you. Sigurdsson's won the ball back. Good life flicks it onto Ramirez. He's got good pace and he can get beyond players if he does well. Cuts it back towards Altamiranda, who brings it down tremendously well in the box. I don't know how he brought it down. And then the easy part, which was passing it into the back of the empty net, he's managed to find the keeper in the box. Set piece routine here. Cabrera's going to be ruled out for offside. But again, Birmingham from free kicks, corners, causing us some issues. 3 minutes to be added on here. I don't think we're going to get through, but we've at least come into it statistically if you want to look at a glass half full approach. 23 shots, 11 on target, 56% of the ball again. They had 17, 7 and 44. A 2-0 defeat in the Carabao Cup. Sees us drop out of that competition. It was never a priority, but it would have been nice to actually go a little bit further for the cash. Assertively, not happy with the performance out there. At least everyone's responded positively to that. And I guess it gives us a good opportunity to kind of like bounce back a little bit and fire a rocket for everybody for the game against Middlesbrough. Martin Lane, the first goal scorer, gets the Man of the Match award, and we drop out of the Carabao Cup competition, which wasn't... Oh, it said reach third round as a minimum, and we reached it where we were knocked out, so that's fine. I guess, if we're going to prioritise competitions, the Championship is the competition we want to prioritise. The FA Cup doesn't start until January. Got plenty of time for that one. And maybe, if we want to focus on the positive, it does reduce our fixture congestion by not going any further in that competition. So I'll try and be a little bit happy with it. We are going to rotate just a little bit. The Wolf probably won't make it back for the next match. Defensively, we weren't great. What's Sigurdsson's height like? He's 187. Escobar is 187 as well. Ben Shop is 183. Oh, Ben Shop's not as little as I thought. Good Life is a little one, 169. How tall is Grassiger? 183 as well. Are all my centre backs 183? Oh no, 187. 187. Yeah, so he's the shortest one. Tyrone Taylor is 183 as well. All right, so I'm probably overthinking it there, but I'm just looking at our set piece routines and our defensive stuff. We're getting a lot of bodies back, so I'm not sure why we are struggling quite as much as we are. Maybe we need to get Good Life out of these areas or out the back stick or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll figure it out as we go. Now, how do we rotate this team? How do we change them up? Kamara didn't have a great game. We might bring Altamiranda back in as like a longer term project. I think we need to get Aguirre in his natural position, which might mean we put Andrews and Hendy back as just like a makeshift midfield partnership. I think really that's the best we can do in terms of fitness at the moment. And then Ben Shop did okay, Good Life did okay, Sigurdson did fine. Let's go and give everyone a rest day. Let's make sure tactically we go attacking. We're playing the bottom team in the division. We want to try and do a little bit better than we did in the last time out, and I need 3 points in the league to try and keep up with these teams in the top 6, to try and keep up or try and separate ourselves from a lot of these chasing pack sides, which we know are quite good. That was the issue that we had at the end of last season. It was chaos going into the playoffs. So the earlier we can get points, the better off we'll be. Magic of editing though, let's jump forward and look at the lineups for the Middlesbrough game. All right, just like that, we're a couple of days further ahead. Now, the lesson I learned, last time we played in Millwall and we were towards the top of the division, they were 24th. We went positive, and I don't think we did enough going attacking. So even though we're away from home, we're going to go attacking this time out, given that Middlesbrough are 23rd in the division and struggling quite a bit. It doesn't change a tremendous amount. It's an overall team mentality. I think most of the player roles are the same. Cooper's in goal, Sigurdson and Escobar as the central defensive partnership. Good Life on the left, Ben Shop on the right. I want to try and get some consistency across our back five for a little bit. Hendy and Andrews will fill in as the base and midfield players. Aguirre moves back to the 10 role. Ilic and Petrovic, Serbian wingers on the right, and Altamiranda comes back in up top. Middlesbrough, a couple of holdouts here. Isma Cerro, now 35 years of age as the left winger. Looks fairly solid, I think comes through the Sporting Gijon Academy. Is that the right logo there? I don't 100% recognise it. He's had a wild career as well. Was at Southampton for a bit, then Augsburg, then Cruz Azul over in Mexico, now back at Middlesbrough for a couple of seasons. Looks pretty good technically, but physically nothing to worry about too much. You've got Ethan Laird, who's an absolute beast if you can pick him up in your own saves. Wonderful, wonderful right midfielder. Right back. If you get him early enough, you can also train him as a left back. He was at United for a couple of seasons, went on loan at Blackburn, Bristol, Oxford, then at Blackpool for a couple of years, and has been at Middlesbrough for 7 years since. A very, very good player. I've got a network save going on at the moment with a friend, and I've got Ethan Laird in it, and he's fantastic. Otherwise, it's a very deep 4-5-1 formation, so I think they're trying to get behind the ball. Hopefully we can work our 2v1s in wide areas and put them to shame. Passionately, we're going to say, let's show the world what this team's about. And really, as far as the league is concerned, if we're going to make that our focus for this season, these are the sort of games that we not only need to win, but win by a good few goal margins to try and boost our goal difference and maintain some sort of distance or some sort of closeness to Stoke, who are running away with it at the moment. Throw in, left-hand side, very deep for Middlesbrough. Ball back into midfield, well won back by Hendy. Andrews comes forward, back to Hendy again. Looks out left towards Illich. It's a poor ball, Laird heads it away. Good life, Hendy and Aguirre exchange nice little triangle passes here in midfield, keeping possession nicely. Ball out the right now to Benchop, who can get a deep ball in. It's headed away by the Middlesbrough defence. They're going to come back through Bullman. Laird's crossfield switch is poor. Ball back into Petrovic now on the right-hand side. He's going to try and go around the outside of his man. Gets the ball in, but Miranda's header just over the crossbar. But good little passage to play in there. We kept the ball quite well in that midfield three. Through half an hour now, without a whole lot going on, we're going to use our Get Creative shout a little bit earlier in the match than we normally would, but everyone seems inspired. If we get a goal before half-time, it's probably going to put us in a good position for the second half. But otherwise, the longer they hold on, the more tense it's going to get. And we're at half-time now. They've had 2 shots, 2 on target, 42% possession. No highlights that we've seen as yet. We've had 5, 3, and 58. We're going to passionately tell everyone I'm pleased with how things are going, keep it up, and everyone seems to have responded positively. I just need someone to find the back of the net. That seems to be the issue at the moment. And looking at Illich and Miranda's match ratings so far, they are both struggling to be any sort of incisive, and we're already through an hour. So what are we going to do here? Let's just go by match rating. Illich has struggled, so we'll bring on Ramirez. Miranda has struggled, so we'll bring on Kamara. And Petrovic hasn't had a great game either, so we'll bring on Dorba. We're effectively just changing the front three to try and unlock this defence. Passionately, I have faith in you, get out there and make a difference. And this seems like the sort of game where Ramirez might chip in with something, whether it's an assist or a goal or whatever else. We've also used our Get Creative shout, Old Faithful, after an hour. But one highlight in 75 minutes of football against one of the worst teams in the division isn't great. We're into the last 10 minutes now. We're going to demand more. Okay, we've got a highlight. Please be a goal. Benchop throws it into Aguirre on the right-hand side. We've lost our possession, but Escobar's going to recover. Benchop now. Right-hand side, back into Hendy. It could have reset out the other side. Instead, he goes back to Escobar. Benchop, nice little ball into Andrews. Good reverse pass for Dorba. Can he wrap his foot around at wide areas? Finds Kamara front post. 6th goal of the season for him. They're making me sweat. They're making me work for it. This was one of the issues we had, if you've watched the series for a while, in the first half of last season as well, where we weren't bad, but we just could only seemingly win games by one goal margins. It's a wonderful ball in from Dorba, and Kamara, fresh off the bench, adds to his 6th goal of the season, our leading scorer for the year thus far. It was only really in the second half of the season when we picked up Kamara that we started to put good runs of multiple goal victories in. No further highlights. We're into 3 minutes of additional time here, and this is probably one of the most boring games we've maybe ever had on the channel. 6 shots, 4 on target, 43% possession. 12 shots, 5 on target, 57% of the ball for us. And a 1 goal margin. Abu Bakar Kamara with the 84th minute winner. Assertively, a good win, boys. Well done. Maybe I just need to be more positive. Maybe I need to say, yes, we got that late winner. We won the game. Sometimes great sides don't have to be at their best to win matches, and maybe this is one of those scenarios. It does send Middlesbrough bottom of the league, down into 24th spot. It keeps us in 10th position with 11 games played, but you can see there's a couple of teams now ahead of us that have played 12 games, 13 games. So hopefully if we win those games in hand, we can rocket up the division a little bit quicker. But Stoke are just absolutely smashing it. They won again. 2-0 against Hull, so they're proving to be quite the formidable opponent at the moment. Kamara gets a Man of the Match award, extends his lead as our leading scorer for the season. I see, this is one of those weird scenarios. I can't tell if Miranda's just struggling to develop to being a first-team player or developing to a new country or whatever, or is Kamara just better suited to a role off the bench, like against tired defences? Is he kind of like a flat-track bully in that sense? So I don't know. That we've got a whole bunch of different questions that we need to get answered over the next couple of games. But similarly to the last time where we jumped forward to the 10th game of the season, we are going to jump forward a little bit. We've got a lot of football in October. And I think we're going to come back towards the end of October for the games against Brentford and Rochdale. It's a double set at home. Hopefully we go on a good little run of form here. We've got some massive, massive fixtures in October. We play Barnsley, who are up in 6th, Swansea, who are down towards the bottom of the division after making the playoffs last year, Hull, who are in 20th, Huddersfield, who are 11th, Sheffield, who are 8th in and around the playoffs as well, and then Sheffield Wednesday, who are in 13th. So a lot of games there where we really should be expecting to pick up as many points as possible. That brings a run of 4 away matches in a row to an end. We've now got 4 home games. If we can get maximum points in that, I think it's going to put us right back up the table. And hopefully we'll come back at the end of October for the Brentford and Rochdale games. Get ourselves 6 points, because we haven't done that so far this season in the Championship in a recorded episode. and set ourselves up nicely going into, the November, December period to try and get as many points as humanly possible. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. That is the portion that I appreciate the most. If you want to go that extra mile, support the channel, be like a super fan, you can drop a like on this video to please the YouTube algorithm, get the results higher up in YouTube search results when people look for Football Manager content. You can also subscribe to the channel if you want to be kept up to date on all our videos as they're released each day of the week. If you check out the links just over on that side there to our Twitter at @InTheMixer_FM, it's where we have all our interactions with the community. If there's anything you ever want or need, that's the best place to try and find it. Or our regular Sunday night Twitch streams, twitch.tv/InTheMixer_FM. Sunday night if you're in Australia, Sunday morning if you're over in the UK, super early Sunday morning if you're in North America. But as always, I've been Sean and I'll see you all again in the Mixer.